Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a psychological thriller film, The Great Hypnotist. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. Dr. Bald is a psychiatrist who is good at using hypnosis to cure his patients. One day, Dr. Bald's tutor introduces to him a tricky patient, the girl named Patient Harry, who has seen many doctors domestically and abroad, but none of them can cure her mental illness. Dr. Bald is curious about this case. His tutor just reminds him that she can see ghosts. Dr. Bald doesn't buy that smelly shit. He thinks this patient must have some kind of psychological problem. Though feeling ridiculous, he still agrees to take this case. Dr. Bald works till midnight that day. When his assistant hands in the medical record of Patient Harry, the patient he has promised his tutor to take care of. Dr. Bald feels tired after a day's work. He tells his assistant to put off the appointment to tomorrow. However, the assistant tells him that Patient Harry has been waiting for a long time outside the office. He is kind-hearted and agrees to meet her at once. To cheer himself up, he takes a cup of coffee, but he doesn't see anyone come in after waiting for a while. Dr. Bald walks out to the living room, only to find Patient Harry staring at a clock. She says that the clock runs slow and sets it ahead with her fingers. Dr. Bald shows her to the office and starts the hypnosis session. From the following conversation, Dr. Bald learns that she's an orphan. He pays attention to her life story and feels that this may be a good opening to look into her deep mind. As the therapy begins, Patient Harry slowly tells the story of her first encounter with a ghost. In the beginning, she had been puzzled by the sound of marbles before getting to bed. The sound had troubled her for some time. She was wakened up by the sound that night. As it was getting closer and more cracking, she suddenly realized that the sound came from the ground instead of the ceiling. So she bent down to check if there was anything under the bed. As expected, a marble rolled out from it. Patient Harry turned on her flashlight, but couldn't find anything there. To make sure it wasn't her illusion, she turned on the flashlight to check again. This time, however, she was shocked by the face of an old lady living downstairs. Patient Harry took it as mischief from her neighbor, so she stepped down to negotiate with them. Much to her shock, the old lady she just saw passed away this morning, with a funeral portrait right in the middle of the living room. Patient Harry couldn't believe her eyes. She also learned from the family that they couldn't find the old lady's ID card anywhere, as they had to use it to arrange the funeral. Suddenly, she noticed that something was wrong with the portrait. Patient Harry followed the direction the old lady's eyes looked and told the family that the ID card was in a secret compartment of the ceiling. Sure enough, they found her ID card right there. Hearing the story, Dr. Bald can't help stopping her smelly shit. He takes it as Patient Harry's lie, where he believes that a person can't hide between the layers of 2 floors. Patient Harry retorts that what she saw is a ghost instead of human. Dr. Bald doesn't want to argue with her anymore. He intends to write down her diagnosis, but Patient Harry speaks out what he's going to write ahead of him, which draws Dr. Bald's interest immediately. It turns out that this woman is also good at psychology. Dr. Bald decides to continue and sees what tricks she's going to play. Then, Patient Harry tells him her second time to see a ghost. One night, Patient Harry took a bus home, where there was no other passenger but herself. Unexpectedly, the bus broke down halfway. Patient Harry stepped ahead to ask the driver what was going on. The driver seemed flustered and begged her not to get off the bus. Patient Harry was scared by him and ran out of the bus. Then she came across a little girl in red on the street. The girl was drawing a lying human figure on the ground. No matter what Patient Harry asked, the girl said nothing but cried and kept looking at the bus Patient Harry just took. Before Patient Harry could do anything, the girl suddenly appeared on the bus, leaving with the driver. However, she continuously pointed at the number plates to Patient Harry, seemingly to remind her to find out the bus. At this time, Patient Harry noticed a poster at the roadside, which said that a little girl died in a car accident before long, and her family was offering a reward to look for clues of the driver. The girl in the poster was just the one she met. Patient Harry was surprised that she just saw another ghost, but she still told the police the plate number of the bus. It soon proved by the police that the driver was responsible for the girl's death. Still, Dr. Bald can't believe her, and finds her shit smells worse. So as to convince him, Patient Harry even shows him a newspaper reporting the case. However, Dr. Bald thinks that she cooks up the story after reading the news. He's tired of the woman's lies, and starts to talk about her background. He soon learns that Patient Harry's parents abandoned her because of heavy debt, and after that, they committed suicide. She can never forget the red flowers all over the sky the day she was sent to an orphanage. Dr. Bald realizes that the red flower may be the key to work it out. He quietly goes into the restroom to call a friend, asking about the species of the flower. The answer turns out to be kapok, which only grows in southern areas, but patient Harry was sent to an orphanage in the north, proving that her stories are made up. Believing that he finds a breakthrough, Dr. Bald decides to continue hypnotizing her with a pocket watch dangling before her. Soon patient Harry finds herself in a ruin with a door in front of her. Actually, it's a common practice of hypnotherapy. What hides behind the door is the memory buried in the bottom of the patient's heart. Patient Harry opens the door, but her finger seems to be pricked, causing a drop of blood to seep out of the skin. Dr. Bald asks her what she has seen. She replies that there's nothing around, except for a pool of water. While Dr. Bald is going to continue his questions, patient Harry suddenly becomes frightened and keeps telling him the number 502. She begs him to stop treatment in despair, just as Dr. Bald is about to pull her back to reality. Unexpectedly, she says that there's a bridge above the pool. Dr. Bald is confused a lot by her words. The next moment, however, Dr. Bald finds himself already stuck in patient Harry's dream. She suddenly rushes crazy towards him and pushes him into the water. Dr. Bald struggles to get out of the pool. And when he comes to his sense again, he falls right into his chair. In anger, Dr. Bald has had enough of her lies and tricks. At this moment, the friend he just called sends him materials of patient Harry's background. Dr. Bald figures out that after being abandoned by her birth parents living in the South, patient Harry was adopted, but later abandoned again by her foster parents living in the North, where her foster mother was pregnant with her own child. Those two tragedies caused patient Harry to be severely traumatized during her childhood, when she should have enjoyed playing marble balls, rather than sufferings. This explains that she tries to cover her darkest memories by making up stories. It seems everything has fallen into place, but patient Harry can't accept what he explained. Dr. Bald has to ask directly about her fiancé, because she always touches her middle finger since she comes in, showing that she used to wear a ring on that finger. Patient Harry looks flurried, hearing his question. She wants to leave the office, but falls into Dr. Bald's hypnosis again. This time, she clearly sees her fiancé, who grows up with her in the orphanage. However, he dies in a car accident right before the wedding ceremony. She also sees herself at her lover's funeral, but someone suddenly rushes in and drags her away. Having recalled her of the memories, Dr. Bald finally understands the cause of patient Harry's sufferings and tries to comfort her to let go of the past. However, patient Harry interrupts his bullshit, declaring that she has seen a man and a woman standing behind him, soaking wet and following him all the time. While Dr. Bald is going to lose his temper, he suddenly falls into hypnosis when he hears patient Harry's call, Captain. Dr. Bald finally gets to face the truth that he has been trying to forget. Captain turns out to be Dr. Bald's nickname given by his dead wife. One night he was drinking with his wife and best friend in a bar named 502. On the way home, he was too drunk and accidentally crashed the car into a river, resulting in his wife and best friend's death in the accident. And Dr. Bald was the only one who survived. After waking up in the hospital, he blamed himself deeply for their death. Unwilling to face reality, he later hypnotized himself to forget the whole accident. Patient Harry tells him the two people standing behind soaking wet are his wife and best friend. They love him as always and have forgiven him. Dr. Bald crashes on the floor and comes back to reality as his assistant runs in. He finally recognizes patient Harry, who is actually his classmate of the same tutor. It's revealed that Dr. Bald was going to suicide after the accident. It's their tutor who makes such a plan to cure his pain. Dr. Bald should be called the patient Bald, while patient Harry is actually his Dr. Harry. The therapy began as the assistant handed in patient Harry's medical record, and the coffee Dr. Bald had was drugged to distract him. He was hypnotized right at the time when patient Harry set the clock. While patient Harry was pretending to be treated by him, she deliberately pricked her finger so as not to lose her senses. However, Dr. Bald soon noticed that something was wrong according to his rich experiences. Right when he hypnotized patient Harry and wanted to dig deep about her fiancé, he triggered the hidden protection mechanism set by their tutor, which as a result enables patient Harry to be dragged out of his hypnosis. So far, Dr. Bald has been successfully cured by patient Harry's hypnotherapy. Everyone is happy for him except for patient Harry. Due to the hypnosis, she also pulls her memory back to the day of the car accident. There were actually 4 people drinking in the bar. Patient Harry was also there, but she left early. Dr. Bald's best friend happens to be exactly her fiancé. She waited anxiously for her lover to come home, but only the bad news came. She also suffers a lot from the accident. The tutor tries to comfort her to let it go, as she is the only one who's still trapped in the past. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Peace out.